what I really wanted to talk about kind of references back to a YouTube video that I created sometime last year. I think it might have been early last year, but the title of it is Mental Illness the Blight of the Black Man? Or is mental illness like the real problem when it comes to Black men? And I wanted to kind of expound on that a little bit to give some clarity to why I believe mental health and emotional health is so vital and key to Black men being their best selves. So first, I wanted to identify the difference between illness and health, since we're going to be talking about mental illness and mental health. I think they're definitely related, but there's a difference there between them. So let's look at the definition of both illness and health. We'll start with health. So health, the general condition of the body or mind with reference to soundness and vigor. Soundness of body or mind, freedom from disease or ailment. I don't think you need that. So there are a lot of definitions of words, right? So health in general is the general condition of the body or mind with reference to soundness and vigor. So just like your overall health, it's literally like the state of your body, body and also your mind. If it's in a good, even, balanced place. Then if we look at the word illness is poor health. So I'll just keep reading the definition. Poor health, sickness, a specific sickness or disease or an instance of such. Let's see if they got different definitions of illness. A disease or indisposition, sickness, a state of ill health, disease of body or mind, poor health, sickness. All right. So we see the difference. Illness is really something's wrong with the state of your health, right? I think it's important to understand that in general, we are responsible for our health, right? I think we understand that, especially when it comes to physical things. We understand that if we're out of shape, a lot of that can be our responsibility, right? So if you're just eating donuts every day, if you're not exercising, if you're eating donuts every day, if you're smoking every day, if you're drinking every day, if you're not getting good rest, if you're not getting all the macro and micronutrients that you need, if you're not spending enough time outside in the sun, your overall health will probably not be good. We understand that, like physically, we get that, right? If we want to lose weight, there's things that we can do to try to lose weight. If we want to be stronger, there's things that we can do to try to be stronger or faster or whatever. We're responsible for that. We also understand that there are certain things in our bodies, in our health, that we cannot control, which can manifest as illnesses. Certain people are born, as an example, are born with abnormalities in their physical design. So there are some people who are born with like sickle cell anemia. It's something that regardless of what you eat, what you drink, it's just something in your body that you can't control. It just happens. And that would be an illness or a disease. It could be like MS, or for some people, it could be like Crohn's disease or, ulcerative colitis. There are different things that happen to our bodies that we don't fully understand. We also can't really trace to where it started or how it happened in our bodies, right? In those cases, those would be diseases and illnesses. We also understand that there are certain things, if we don't take care of our health, it can lead to a disease or illness, right? So I mentioned the idea of smoking or the idea of drinking. At this point in time, where we are and our understanding of drugs and alcohol and things like that, if you consume too much of these things, it can lead to a disease, dis-ease, or illness in your body because it's changing the state of your health. If you drink a lot, you can get to a place where you have liver disease, right? If you smoke a lot, you can get to a place where you can have lung cancer. These are illnesses and diseases that could have been prevented. That's what we understand. That's what we see on the labels of alcohol. You can see it in any liquor store that you go to. In regards to lung cancer, there are so many warnings on smoking and tobacco, and the truth campaign has been happening forever. At this point, there's a lot of information and understanding in science that there are certain things that can be prevented, but if we take certain actions, it will lead to poor health. It will lead to illnesses. It will lead to disease. Right. So we understand that when it comes to the physical, I think what we really wrestle with is that we don't understand that that can happen also with our mental. So there are things in our mental health in general. There's a standard. Got it. We understand good mental health. It's sound, like we mentioned in the definitions, like soundness of something. It's sound. It's like a homeostasis. It's good, right? This is baseline. That applies to our mental health as well. There are also situations where people have mental illnesses that we don't fully understand, that impact our lives, whether we want it to or not. So there are people who wrestle with bipolar. There are people who wrestle with severe depression. There are people who wrestle with anxiety, schizophrenia, lots of different things, right? Things that it just happens. Sadly, it just happens. Just like I mentioned with sickle cell anemia or MS or different diseases that are they just happen in the body. There are things that just happen in the mind that we don't fully understand. And it sucks. It really does. And the reason I'm trying to point this all out is I noticed from the content that I created before in regards to trying to help Black men, one, navigate dealing with mental illness and mental health in general. Oftentimes, when the topic or the subject of mental health and mental illness comes up with related to Black men, some people like to use it or see it as an excuse for the behavior of individuals who make poor decisions or bad decisions or very honestly evil and wicked decisions. I wanted to be clear that that's not my stance. That's not where I'm coming from. I am at no point at all trying to use poor mental health or mental illness as an excuse for the behavior of men in our community. Not at all. I'm not trying to do that as like, oh, well, we're just mentally ill. Because we understand and see the impact of it when it comes to violence in our country. From, I don't even know the safe words for this, but when there are a crisis, when there are people who go around and kill innocent young children, or delete, I guess is the word. I'm still learning all the safe words or whatever for YouTube, but go around and delete young children in schools, or delete large amounts of people at movie theaters or at malls, at various places. In some instances, when those people do that, who are doing the deleting, and they do not look like us, they are of the lighter persuasion. They oftentimes aren't looked at as criminals or that they're evil or that they've done bad things. Oftentimes, what we see in the news is that those individuals wrestle with mental illness, and it gives them a pass. It gives them a pass for the dangerous behavior that they enacted on those around them and in the society and in the community that we live in. Deleting people who are just at a grocery store because they don't look like you. We excuse that as mental illness. I don't agree with that. And I honestly think that's a lot of political media spin to try to protect the image of the supremacy of this country. That's my take. But when it comes to dealing with mental illness and mental health within our community, I'm not trying to do a political and media spin at all. That is not what I'm trying to do. And so I'm trying to clear that up and also make the demarcation between really dealing with mental illness.